What's up, everyone? I'm the Kaishin Okami from the Toku Animation News Network here at Ranger Stop 2025 in conversation with
Michael Hollander from VR Troopers.
Remember to click like, subscribe, the bell notification, and whatever else YouTube has you clicking on to support us. Welcome, Michael. For those who might not know what you've been in beyond VR Troopers, what have you done?
Acting-wise, not very much. So I originally started out doing modeling and print work and some runway commercials. And then what I most was noted for was doing a Toni Braxton video. So I did some music videos, but I was most famous for the song "You Mean the World to Me" by Toni Braxton, and I was the leading man in that video. And then I got VR Troopers.
So you acted in the video, you didn't shoot the video?
Yes, I was the actor in the video. It was just me and her.
How did you get into the VR Troopers?
Because I was on, well, not because, but I was on set of the music video with Toni Braxton, and I was actually here in Florida where we shot it. And my agent called me and said, "Hey, they're looking for someone like a Walter Jones. They're creating this new kind of show that's like Power Rangers, and they're looking for someone like Walter Jones that can act, do martial arts, gymnastics, and dance." And they wanted an African American, and so I was like, sure. So I went for the audition, and I got it.
Now, when you got cast for the show, were you aware it was based on a Japanese series?
Kinda, but they didn't give us much information about what this new show was going to be. So before I got the show, no, I didn't know what the show was going to look like or anything. All we knew, it was a new show, and it was going to be like Power Rangers. So that's about all I knew. So I didn't know it was going to be all new content, or they were going to do the same thing with the Japanese footage and splice it together. I didn't know.
And you did the voiceovers, though, when they did have the Japanese footage.
Exactly.
Did you find it difficult working in that style?
No, not difficult. It took a little getting used to, because something I didn't realize was not only do we have to shoot the voiceover for the Japanese footage, which that's a little easier, the hard part was anytime, a lot of people don't know this, but anytime we filmed outside, like just out on location, planes would fly by, there were just ambient sounds, so we'd have to voice over our own voices in the ADR room. So it's basically voiceover like studio. And so we had to match our mouth, like the lip sync of our mouth, of our lines, and redo the voices that we already did. But we had to like time it perfectly so that it didn't look like, it
was out of sync.
Right. So that took some getting used to. Like that was hard.
Was there any day that just stands out to you as like the best day you ever had?
Nobody's ever asked me that question. That's a good question. I've never thought about that. Honestly, the best day I ever had was knowing that I booked the show. That was like, oh my God, I finally got work as an actor, and I'm actually going to be working. But I was holding my breath a little bit because we filmed for months and months and months, and it hadn't released yet. So I was hoping that it wouldn't get canceled or something would happen, and then it never actually, like we did all this filming and then it never got aired. So there was that excitement of initially getting it, and then holding our breath that it was actually going to get on TV and that it would be successful.
So was it disappointing then when it only lasted 2 seasons?
Absolutely, yeah. We were all kind of sad and disappointed. We were on set filming, like, I think the last episode, and some producer came out and said, announcement everyone, this is our last season. And everybody was like,
that had to bring down your energy.
it did. I mean, they waited till we got done filming, and then they told us the bad news. There's no other season. We're like, and instantly everybody's thinking, all right, what's my next job? Like, how do I, there's no more work. So.
Well, essentially, the VR Troopers was two series combined into one for each season. So they had yours and Caitlin's footage for one show, and then Ryan Steele's footage was another show. And it's just an interesting concept of how they try to merge these together, where some days it was you fighting the monsters, and then they pull the footage of Metalder fighting the monsters.
Exactly. They always split us up. So if you watch our characters, the real life characters, not real life, but you know what I mean, out of costume, we always split up. And they're like, all right, Ryan, you go that way, and me and Caitlin will go this way, and that's when we split up and did our own separate fights. But yeah, we never went to battle together. So yeah, I think it was a tricky writing and editing thing, but they made it work.
So the show ends. What did you do from there?
So I volunteered to teach at a karate school right afterwards, and it was through a friend of mine. He had a really successful school that he just started doing in Brentwood, California, and eventually he hired me as permanent staff position, and I taught martial arts there for 5 years while I continued to try to do auditions and try to get more work. And then I just went on to other careers. I didn't get more acting work after that.
But did you have kids that recognized you from the TV show at all?
So that's the interesting thing. The kids that saw our show were, I want to say, between 4 and around 8 years old, I'm guessing. Because every time I was out in public, and I would go to so I'm a big fan of martial arts. I used to do martial arts, so I'd go to competitions. And I'd actually go to competitions with the guy Tao on our show, the karate teacher. We would go together because he had a karate school and he had students that competed. And it was especially at those competitions where the kids everywhere, but it was mostly the parents that recognized us, especially in public. So they would tap their kids and go, hey, it's JB Reese. So the parents would watch the show with the kids, but it was always the parents that told the kids, hey, it's JB. And then they'd be like, what? What's he doing here? So, yeah.
That's hilarious. Usually it'd be the other way around, like, oh my God.
Yeah, no, I think the kids are so young, and I don't think they understood that why would he be out here in the real world? And the parents would have to point out, no, that's him from the show.
Well, I had the same thing because I used to teach full-time, I taught elementary school.
Oh, okay.
And I would switch, I'd do YouTube and elementary school, and the kids would go, my teacher's a YouTuber! And the parents are like, it's great because you're showing that teachers have lives outside of the classroom.
Yeah, they think that they can't picture you out, like if they saw you in a store, they'd be like, they can't picture it. It's weird. They only know you in that role.
Well, yeah, I had one student once, they're like, do you live in the school? I'm like, yes, I'm the phantom of the school. I live underground, play
in the boiler room. Right. Yeah, that's exactly it. Oh, so here's a funny story. So I was hanging out at the beach, I think this is back in the 90s, and I was rollerblading at the beach. And this little kid, so some kids do recognize me, and this one in particular recognized me, but he didn't say anything. I was standing there maybe watching something, like some basketball players, and this kid kept skating around me in circles. And then he kept poking me. And he kept jabbing me in the stomach. I'm like, what are you doing? And I knew he knew me from the show. And he says, what would happen if I cut you? I was like, what? And this kid is like 7 or 8 years old. You mean cut me with a knife? He's like, yeah, what would happen if I cut you? I would bleed. And the kid became really sad. He saw his face just dropped and he's like, I thought you were a machine. That was the craziest experience I had about the association of kids and how they see the characters on the show. Like, they don't understand, like, they think we live in that world in the show. They think we are those characters. They, like, I have other stories like that. They just
That's crazy.
can't separate the actor from the character.
And you got into animation, right?
Yeah, so I do 3D animation. You know, there's the 2D style where you draw. I do computer animation.
Nice. Is there a piece you're most proud of?
Not specifically. It's more about. I mean, yeah, I have personal pieces. It's kind of hard to explain and describe. So what I do now, I work on a video game called Marvel Strike Force.
Oh.
And so what's cool about that, it's a Marvel game, so there's a lot of martial arts and action and some of my favorite characters on there. But I think, so that's the most fun I've had animating, but the things that I take pride in are some of the ones that are more like the quality. So I used to work in film. And so some of the really big films, like Hotel Transylvania, I worked on. So I'm kind of proud of that because it was such a big hit. Life of Pi, that was like a critically acclaimed hit, so I was proud to work on that. Some other films were like Percy Jackson 2. That was, you know, some big fans of that series. Open Season 3, Alvin and the Chipmunks 3, Hop. So I'm a big movie fan, and so I'm really proud that I got to work on some of these big feature films.
Oh yeah, we own tons of movies on Blu-ray and 4K, and it's funny though because half our movie collection is from before the year we were born. I'm a huge film noir fan.
Oh, nice.
So
Yeah,
I love movies from the 40s, 50s. And
yeah.
I'm a big Alfred Hitchcock fan.
Right, yeah.
Billy Wilder. All kinds of stuff.
That's awesome, nice. Not many of you left.
It seems to me there are a lot of people like, oh, I won't watch movies if they're from before the year I was born,
or just before color. You know, so it's hard for a younger generation to appreciate that black and white. So I grew up with some of that too, like with reruns and replaying some of those old movies. Yeah.
I mean, the whole reason this channel exists is because of Godzilla. I wanted to see Godzilla reviews done in a certain way. No one's doing it, so the whole channel was created because I was like, well, I'm going to do it myself then. Taught myself video editing and went on from there.
Oh, okay. Taught yourself video editing. Wow. Yeah. That's a skill that I cannot understand how you know when to edit. Like, I get the concept, but that's impressive.
It was tough. What do you like to do outside of work?
So I work out a lot. I do things like bike riding. This year I went snowboarding. I skied and snowboarded a lot. I used to for the longest time, for many years. I picked up skateboarding kind of late in life. I didn't grow up skateboarding. I started like, pretty late, and that was my thing. I'd go skateboarding all the time. Nothing fancy, I wasn't doing tricks or anything, but other things I used to like to do that I don't do anymore is dancing, playing basketball, and just hanging out with my friends. Just nothing too exciting.
Are there any social media links people can find you at?
I don't do a lot of social media, but things like this, I'll post some fun stuff. Mike Hollander VRT or VR Troopers on Instagram.
Any final words for our viewers?
If anybody cares at all that you're watching this and you're showing any interest in VR Troopers, I thank you for watching and even remembering us. Like, I did not know that people remembered the show. I thought we were just 2 seasons, it was a wrap, and now it's out of the memory of, because back then they weren't doing Comic-Cons. That wasn't a thing. This whole like nostalgia culture and Comic-Cons and cosplay, like I'm so appreciative that people come up to me and remember the show and tell me how it's affected their childhood. Like, oh, you meant so much to me. I used to watch you as a kid. I love the show, and I've heard some really heartwarming stories about how we affected them. And I just want to thank anybody who's remembered or cared or enjoyed the show. Thank you for remembering and sharing that experience and sharing some of the stories. Some people are telling me stories from the show that I totally forgot about. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. So it's bringing back memories for me too. So thank you everyone, and this whole Comic-Con thing has been a great experience.
Finally, if there was one song to describe your life, what would it be?
Song to describe my life. I can't think, so you put me on the spot on that one, because I listen to all kinds of music, and I generally don't listen to the lyrics of songs. It's just, I like everything from rock to hip hop to electronic music, but I will say my favorite song is, I'm trying to think, it's by Audio Slave, I Am the Highway, I think it's the name of the song. I don't even know what the lyrics mean, but I just love that song and relate to the music. But again, depending on my mood, I'm listening to, Latin, jazz, rock, everything. So I'm out there.
I totally get it. I'm more music-based than lyric-based.
Right.
When it comes to music, I gravitate towards what sounds great in my ears, and lyrics, they're like, oh, those are cool, or whatever.
Yeah, you might hear like just, like a phrase in a song, that's just like, oh yeah, but you don't know what it means, or it's just how a song makes me feel.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you.
Until next time, bye.